Okay, everyone, here's my fresh reaction to Miss Marvel Episode 1. We're going to do this video without all sorts of edits and B-roll and stuff like we normally have on my channel. Because I wanted to go live and do this, but super quick. I'm still going to have live reaction parties streaming to my channel, the live stream and the replay. After today, I applied and I still have to wait 24 hours to be approved to live stream. I was told to run my live stream from my channel. But no worries, I've watched the first episode moments after it dropped. I've checked my notes, so we're just going to have me share my thoughts with you unplugged like I would normally do during a live. And next time, for the second episode of Miss Marvel, I'll go live and we can all react together. You can ask me questions about the episode and the series and the comic book and all the things. So make sure you subscribe to my channel, click the bell notification and select all, and you should get the notification when I go live each week. Plus, I'm an attorney, so I'll be dropping my reactions to She-Hulk's trailer, series, and all of that. And I'll follow her body of work as an attorney through the years in Marvel Comics. I've been a fan and collector of comics starting in 1986, so I love Marvel and I'm really proud of where the brand has gone through the years, okay? So now, here we go. Called Generation Y, the first episode opens with The Weeknd's Blinding Lights playing in the background. We've got the traditional red and white Marvel logo turn into a brightly colored comic book version of the logo. So in tune with the whole Kamala Khan Miss Marvel vibe, and as Blinding Lights continues to play, Kamala is drawing, she's creating artwork, and she's narrating as she creates, talking about New Jersey's AvengerCon, the biggest fan experience of the year. And she's apparently recording this and putting it up on YouTube on her own channel, Sloth Baby Productions. Her besties Nakia and Bruno are the first two comments on the video, showing her video love as all good best friends do. And then in the meantime, her brother Amir is praying. Their father Yusuf is kidding around, saying to be that young and hip dad. He's like urging his son to take a break and eat. Mom Muniba is around as Kamala runs down and gets everything together so that she can run out for a driving test to get her license. She's looking in the mirror. Her dad's trying again to be that hip dad, telling her that she doesn't have to look in the mirror. And her mom, who is a fellow female and gets it, tells her, you know what? Yes, you do. You do need to look. That's okay. Kamala goes to the test and immediately fails it because she turns the car on, guns it, and unfortunately she's in reverse, slams into the car behind her, and it's the instructor's car, as it turns out. So he's really not pleased. I think he also started things off by mispronouncing her name, and Kamala's correcting him under her breath, though. And he's like, God bless you, like she sneezed. Anyway, her parents show up to collect her. They're defending her, even though they weren't there. They're basically trying to put it on the instructor like it's somehow his fault, like he pressured her or something, or expected too much of her. As Kamala's parents drive her home, though, her mother is starting to guilt trip her, like, you know, it was her father's car, they sacrificed for it, and Kamala checks out by looking out the window up at what appears to be the Jersey City skyline, and she's fantasizing that Captain Marvel, her favorite Avenger, her favorite hero, is flying outside. Next, Kamala's at school. I guess her driving test was before school started. And, you know, it's made super clear, super early, that Kamala's basically a geek. No one respects her, from the jocks to the everyday kids. The coach mispronounces her name. Kamala's just doing her best to deal. And in the meantime, Muniba is texting Bruno about what happened with the test. Now, in the comic book saga of Miss Marvel, Kamala and Bruno met in second grade, and other than Nakia, who I think she was besties with since day one of kindergarten, he's been her best friend. And as the first episode continues to play out in front of the viewer, it's very obvious he's got a crush on her. Okay, so in the hallway, they encounter high school mean girl Zoe Zimmer. Kamala accidentally knocks something over of hers, but Zoe is actually kind of fine. Doesn't attack her, isn't super cool or anything. I think Nakia notes that Zoe's not so bad to Kamala because her mom used to drive them both to school back in the day or whatever. Okay, so anyway, Mr. Olson, the guidance counselor, calls over the loudspeaker for Kamala to go to his office. But, he's kind of too chatty on the loudspeaker about it, and that's gotta be so embarrassing, right? She shows up, and 30 seconds in, she's already daydreaming while he's speaking to her, trying to let her know that he knows she's been having a rough week. She's been caught doodling in science class. She's creating a not so flattering picture of her teacher. Things have been exploding, and it's just been, shall we say, a klutzy yutsy time for poor Kamala. And Mr. Olson, call him Gabe, is trying to show her empathy, but then immediately afterwards just cuts to the chase of Kamala's being a junior in high school. She's got to start thinking about college admissions, SATs, all of that stress-inducing kind of stuff. And Kamala's like, do I have to have all this figured out by lunch? Or you can tell from the look in her eyes, she's really not connecting with any of this stuff. And there's a poster of a cat hanging off a tree branch that says, hang in there. And there was a similar poster like that in one of my favorite movies of all time, the Lego Movie. And so I found that to be both a touching and funny reference all at once. Anyhow, Mr. Olson, Gabe, then asks Kamala to go home, look in the mirror, and he quotes the line from the song Reflections from the Disney movie Mulan, the animated version, The lines, "Who is that girl I see, staring straight back at me? When will my reflection show who I am inside?" And Kamala immediately calls him out for doing that. He admits that she's got him, and she's got this wry look on her face, like goofy adults trying to connect with us, right? And it's interesting because throughout the first episode, you can catch Kamala looking in the mirror, not just getting ready for her driver's test, but also in her room, looking at a full-length mirror when she's in street clothes, but also later when she's in a cosplay outfit of Captain Marvel, that it turns out she's sewn and Bruno's airbrushed to complete the look. I go into the lines for the Reflection song and unpack a lot of what might be going on with Kamala throughout not just the Disney Plus series, but what might follow her out into her appearance in the upcoming movie The Marvels and even Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. And I do all that in a video on my channel called Miss Marvel Connected Trailer Reaction. So after this video, give that video a watch and tell me what you think about my dissection of that particular Easter egg. Anyway, there's a split screen moment in Gabe's office where you see half of him and half of Kamala neatly lined up as he's talking to her. I think that reflects the two sides of Kamala's life. The reality that she's expected to live by the grown-ups in her life, but also simultaneously the fantasy life that Kamala wishes she could live. And of course, as you might guess, she starts to end up living once her powers are activated, but I digress. Next, she and Bruno are working on her costume. She's loving how it comes out, and of course, Bruno's defending Kamala's mother, his secret little confidant, telling Kamala not to treat her like she's Darth Vader, which is hilarious because Disney owns both Marvel and the whole Star Wars franchise. What a tidy little Easter egg that is. Okay, what I also think is cool is how Kamala and Bruno, as they move around outside after they're done with the cosplay suit for now, you see fantasy comics appear on the sides of buildings, on glass windows, doors, the whole thing, following them around like the fantasy layer of Kamala's inner life is always present. It makes that point. Okay, and then afterward, Kamala's with Muneeba, and her mom's got a package that she opens that's been sent to them, I think, from Kamala's grandmother, Nani, in Pakistan. And Kamala's picking up a beautiful bracelet that's there and asks what that particular piece is. Is it from Nani? And if you watch this episode, it's quick, but Muneeba has a dark look come over her eyes, and then she's up and snatching the item away, throwing it back in the box and declaring it junk. It's a box full of junk that Nani sent. She tells Amir to bring the box up to the attic, which he does. Then Muneeba takes Kamala to the Pakistani side of the neighborhood to go shopping, and you're treated to a gorgeous montage of ethnic food, fashion, and fun. During this montage, I noted that there were pictures of bangles spray painted on the walls. Kamala loads up her arms with bangles and bracelets, and again, her mother's like, stop kidding around. While Kamala is trying on an outfit in one of the shops, Muneeba's speaking with another mother who's complaining that her daughter has left the country to go through Europe to find herself, and the two women are commiserating because that's not what they would want their daughters to do. The one mother wants her daughter to find herself wearing a ring, meaning that she's engaged, but clearly she feels that her daughter is not taking herself and her future too seriously. Meanwhile, Kamala's like, good for her, and her mother, Muneeba, sours at that point. And whereas before she wanted Kamala to try on the outfit, declaring she's not too short for it, the outfit's too tall, so if it's a good fit, it'll be tailored. Well, now she sees that her daughter is going way more non-traditional in terms of the vibe that she'd like. So she's now like, Kamala, wait, you are too short for that outfit. Get it off. Oh my goodness. Just like a typical mother. Throw off the vibe and she's done shopping. Let's go home. Am I right? I try really hard not to be like that with my son. Anyway, they come home. Bruno's working with Yusuf, training him to use the Marvel Universe's version of Alexa, which is Zuzu. Yusuf is like overwhelmed with confusion and joy. It's cool, but it's also like digital witchcraft for him. Bruno's like to Kamala, did you ask your parents about whether you can go to Avenger Con? But Kamala's brushing him off. After Bruno leaves, Kamala does ask her parents, but she's downplaying the whole thing. It's not like she wants to go. Well, she wants to go, but Bruno really wants to go. And she drops the line really quick that Bruno doesn't have much of a family to do things with. And that's kind of like the comics where Bruno had a little brother and he and his sibling lived with their grandparents after having a deadbeat dad and a mom who loses custody of them both due to questionable lifestyle choices, shall we say. Her parents are both like, no, but Kamala's like, we're 16 or almost 16, and it's not a party, it's a convention. She's going to go as Captain Marvel, of course, and I'll note that her bike helmet is Captain Marvel themed, which is the best, as she and Bruno go biking through Jersey City. Kamala says in frustration, I can't do a normal teenage thing, and her parents continue to protest, and it leads to her father saying, you're not normal, Kamala. And you can tell he wished he didn't say it, and Kamala rushes off, obviously offended. Amir goes to Kamala's room, where she stormed off to, offering her some chai, which she's grateful for, and he assures her, I've got you, I'll talk to them. Then he makes fun of her for her stuffed sloth toy, which is kind of like what Kamala liked in the comic books, right? He teases her that it's a kiddie thing to do and that she's afraid of the dark, which Kamala denies, but after he's gone, she's cuddling up to the toy and turning on a glittery nightlight. Just because, you know. Anyway, later she texts Bruno and says she said no, meaning her mom. Bruno reacts back via text, but you can see their text responses in comic book cartoony artwork that shows up, this time warping the neon lights around Bruno as he's moving around texting back to Kamala, which is again so fantasy candy coating reality and perfect to the whole Kamala Khan Miss Marvel vibe. I love that. So then Kamala dresses up in the Captain Marvel cosplay outfit that she and Bruno had made. You see her loving her reflection in her full-length mirror, and then you see her noting one thing. Her mother had made mention of skimpy clothing, skimpy outfits, and her disapproving, and Kamala takes a piece of blue cloth and makes it a sash across her waist, which is a modesty panel, sure, but it's also more in step with Kamala Khan's outfit, kind of crossing over the Miss Marvel concept with the Captain Marvel concept. Again, so very on point, and I love it. Then her parents are knocking at the door, and Kamala throws on a fluffy robe and answers it. It's her parents, and Muniba and Yusuf are like, you can go to the party, but we have the costumes thought out already. And it's Dad Yusuf being the big Hulk, and you, Kamala, can be the little Hulk and go with him. And if you've seen the trailer, Big Hulk, Little Hulk, then you know Dad's looking goofy in his green body paint and outfit. Both the Hulk costumes have a little bit of Pakistani purple and bling, but while it's all very sweet and her parents are really trying to be nice and the outfits are very sweet, well, Kamala gives it a big old thumbs down and hurts her parents' feelings. And now she can't go at all. Bruno texts Kamala and they meet on the roof of the building, whereupon Kamala shares with him that she feels awful because her parents are hurt and rejected. She may have made her dad cry, and Bruno consoles her. Kamala's like, I'm never gonna live the superhero life that I fantasize about. My head's always in the clouds. My parents, my teachers, the guidance counselors, nobody gets me. And then she says the line, it's not like the brown girls from Jersey City who, saved the world. But Bruno proves that he gets her and says, you're Kamala Khan. If you want to save the world, you're gonna do it. And then they share a long, lingering look, and you can tell from Bruno's face that he's in love with Kamala. But then the moment breaks. He shares with Kamala some Botan gloves that are black gloves that are rigged to light up to complete her costume. Kamala loves them. There's a tag on him that says B. Corelli Corp with a cute turtle logo. That's Bruno Corelli, of course, and while his turtle meets her sloth in an energy vibe sense, there's also the turtle deep cut reference from the comic book saga, where the kids bonded over their love of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, like a clone or knockoff set of comics. When Kamala puts on the gloves and they light up, to me that's foreshadowing the powers that she's going to discover shortly. Then she comes up with a plan, and you see the fantasy version of her in her cosplay suit. Except now she's got superimposed comic book powers in this fantasy-based reenactment of her plan. And ultimately, it's all about how she and Bruno are going to sneak off to Avenger Con anyway. I would note that in her fantasy, Bruno's cosplay outfit shows him as a kind of sexy Tony Stark, which is funny because later on when they actually go to Avenger Con, his cosplay outfit is more of a basic Chris Banner kind of thing. Chris Banner? Bruce Banner? Huh. Okay, so long story short, before Kamala sneaks off with Bruno to attend Avenger Con, she runs to the attic, she fishes out her Nani's bangle bracelet because it's beautiful and cool, and she wants to wear it too. And as she touches it and looks upon it, the attic lights start to flicker and pulse, which she doesn't really seem to notice. Okay, so they're at Avenger Con, she's decked out in her Captain Marvel gear. They're calling for everyone who's competing to be the best Captain Marvel to go to the stage. And that's when Kamala sees Zoe dressed up as a more Carol Danvers looking Captain Marvel. But Bruno snipes that her look isn't comic book accurate. Kamala's identity is hidden from Zoe because she's got the helmet on and all you really see are her eyes and mouth, not her whole face. Kamala's surprised that this would be Zoe's thing and says to herself that Zoe didn't even like the Avengers, so what the heck is she doing here, dressed as Captain Marvel? I have my thoughts about why that's the case, and I'll discuss it in another video on my channel, so again, make sure you subscribe. Anyway, Kamala ends up having left her photon gloves that Bruno made for her in a bathroom stall. There's no time to get it. Bruno urges her to just wear her bracelet, which she does. Interestingly, the bangle triples in size once she has it on her arms and clicks it closed. A glow spreads around her. Her eyes change color. She's rushed up on the stage and shoots lights out of her hands, which everyone catches on camera, of course, because they're recording the whole thing. Zoe is gushing that the special effect is so cool. It's clear that Kamala's won the competition and the approval of the audience as they like ooh and ah. And then a blast from Kamala ends up decapitating a huge Ant-Man statue. Oh man, I'm going to have a whole other video tying in the connection to Ant-Man that will affect phases 4 and 5 of the MCU. Please make sure you've subscribed. I do not think my theory is wrong. But anyway, the head of the Ant-Man statue rolls off and breaks a lot of stuff, including a cable that holds Mjolnir, Thor's hammer, of course a fake one for decor, but the thing is like huge. It smashes into Zoe and she's kind of stuck to it, flying around and then falling off of it, and Kamala instinctively creates what appears to be a hard light projection that embiggens her hand and arm, and she catches Zoe before she crashes into the floor and seriously would have gotten hurt. Bruno pushes Kamala out of the event because she's clearly like going through a deer in headlights sort of moment, and they ride home and Kamala even shoots out a hard light projection from 1 foot to make it up to her window, which Bruno is like, wow. And then Kamala sneaks back into her room, only to be caught by Muneeba, who is clearly pissed, as most parents would be at that moment. Come on, it's true. Her mother says, "I'm not recognizing you. Who is this girl I see?" Kind of reflective of the Reflection song from Mulan. But then, this is a blink and you've missed it moment. Muneeba adds crisply, "I've seen what happens when someone gets lost in their fantasies." I have a theory video coming out about this too on my channel. Subscribe, you better. Her mom sees betrayal, tells Kamala to stop fantasizing, to focus on herself, not Captain Marvel or anyone else. She then asks her before she leaves the room, basically, would she rather focus on herself or be some cosmic head-in-the-clouds kind of person? To which Kamala, after her mother leaves the room and shuts the door, Kamala extends out her hand, watches the purple glow as it lights up and responds in wonder. Cosmic. Now, 2 more quick things. Number 1, the credits are gorgeous, comic book art style, and they've got tons of Kamala Khan, Miss Marvel comic book imagery strewn throughout, which I absolutely adore. And there's a turtle spray painted in there too, at least once that I caught, and that's so a totemic connection between Kamala and Bruno. And then there's a post-credit scene already, and that's where we see folks at Damage Control. A female agent is watching a YouTube video of Kamala's exploits at AvengerCon where her powers have manifested. And the agent says to Agent Cleary that she's never seen powers like that before. And he's like, better bring her in. We last saw Agent Cleary interrogate Tom Holland's Peter Parker in Spider-Man No Way Home. No, I do not think Damage Control is going to be like the big bad in all of this. I've got other videos already out on my channel that covers that topic. But I love that they're already in the mix, and super cool side note that they have some sort of app that can show the power rating of a superhuman as they use their powers on screen. Is that some sort of futuristic iPhone update or something? I don't know, but all I do know is that my socks were knocked off, and this is only the first of 6 episodes total that we're getting. But then we know that Kamala is going to team up with Captain Marvel and Monica Rambeau in the Marvels movie too, and Kamala is going to factor into the MCU very heavily per Kevin Feige, so oh my gosh, it's gonna be a fun time. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, and thanks for watching. Alrighty. Next time we'll do it live.